Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're zooming in on one of the most fascinating and definitely one of the most complex figures of our time. We're going to map out exactly how Elon Musk scaled his ambitions, from early, scrappy startups all the way to wielding this unprecedented global socio-political influence. Okay, let's dive right into this because honestly, it's kind of wild to think about. It's almost hard to reconcile the two extremes of his life, you know? On one hand, you've got this deeply isolated kid in South Africa. He was bullied so severely he actually ended up hospitalized at one point. To escape, he'd retreat into these trance-like states of mental focus, diving into science fiction and coding a little $500 space shooter game called Blaster right in his bedroom. And then, on the other hand, you have today's reality. A guy who is literally engineering the future of humanity while simultaneously acting as a massive, politically polarizing force. I mean, how do you even get from point A to point B? All right, section 1, from bullied to billionaire. Let's look at those early years. He realized pretty early on that his ambitions needed a much bigger stage, so he packed up and moved to North America at just 17. And man, his financial wins escalated fast. From selling that $500 game Blaster back in 1984, he went on to found an online city directory called Zip2 in 1995. When Compaq bought it in 1999, Musk personally walked away with $22 million. He was only 27. He took that money, rolled it directly into X.com, which eventually merged to become PayPal. Now get this. In a crazy dramatic twist, he was actually ousted as CEO by his own board while he was on his honeymoon in Australia. Still, he held on to his shares, so when eBay acquired PayPal in 2002, he netted a cool $180 million. That massive PayPal payout totally set the stage for his next act, and it was driven by something called first principles thinking. Basically, it's this mental framework anyone can use to bypass the whole, well, that's just how it's always been done excuse. You strip a complex problem right down to its absolute basic truths. For example, Musk wanted to send a literal greenhouse to Mars, but when he flew to Russia to buy refurbished ballistic missiles, they completely brushed him off and demanded a ridiculous $21 million for just one missile. So on the flight home, he used first principles. He bypassed the entire aerospace industry's norms and calculated that the raw materials of a rocket, they only made up about 3% of that massive price tag. So right there on his laptop, he just decided, you know what? I'll build my own rockets. And boom, SpaceX was born. Which brings us to Section 2, Surviving the Brink, the absolute chaos of the 2008 financial crisis. Look, having giant ideas is one thing, but by 2008, the harsh realities of physics and finance hit him like a freight train. He was staring down the near collapse of both his space and electric vehicle dreams at the exact same time. $100 million. That is the staggering amount of cash Musk burned through as his first 3 Falcon 1 rockets ended in massive, explosive failures. He was quite literally watching his dreams and his fortune go up in smoke. By the time that third crash happened in August 2008, SpaceX only had enough cash left for one final launch. If it failed, the whole company was dead. And the tension didn't stop there. Over at Tesla, costs were completely spiraling, and the 2008 global financial meltdown had just hit. Tesla was literally days away from bankruptcy. Musk had to sell his personal McLaren and basically beg investors for cash. But then came this unbelievable turning point. On Christmas Eve 2008, a last-minute $40 million funding injection miraculously saved Tesla from going under. And right around that same time, that final do-or-die 4th Falcon 1 launch, it succeeded. It made SpaceX the first private company to reach orbit, which instantly locked in a life-saving $1.6 billion contract with NASA. Talk about surviving the brink, right? So how do you go from near death to dominating global industries? That's Section 3, the algorithm of scale. Back in 2018, Musk made this completely audacious $56 billion bet with Tesla's board. To actually get his payout, he had to grow Tesla's market cap from $52 billion to an astronomical $650 billion. To even come close to pulling that off, just hand-making a few luxury cars wasn't going to cut it. He was forced to completely gut and overhaul Tesla's production capabilities to hit an insane target of 5,000 Model 3s per week. Now, what's really interesting here is how he did it. He applied this ruthless 5-step framework he simply calls the algorithm. Step 1, question every single requirement. Step 2, cut any unnecessary parts or processes. 3, simplify what's left. 4, speed up the cycle time.
And only then, step 5, automate. Here's a great example. He once saw a robotic arm on the assembly line moving super slowly. The technicians told him it was just the standard factory setting of 20% speed. Well, Musk called that stupid, immediately tested it at 100%, and eventually dialed that robotic arm up to a safe 70% capacity. He relentlessly optimized every single inch of that factory floor.
And you can see how applying this algorithm ruthlessly optimized his actual products too. Instead of keeping designers and engineers in separate silos, he forced them to work together. That directly led to breakthroughs like building the battery pack right into the structural floor of the Model S, which saved a ton of space and weight, basically turning the car into a giant computer on wheels. Over at SpaceX, he used the exact same logic on their Raptor engines. He slashed manufacturing costs from 15 crore rupees down to just 1.6 crore. That is nearly a 10-fold reduction, simply by questioning the baseline design and cutting out the clutter. All right, section 4, the political shift. This is where the narrative really pivots from pure tech to ideology. For years and years, Musk actually supported Democratic candidates, people like Barack Obama and Joe Biden. So we have to step back and objectively ask, what were the catalysts here? What actually moved him away from the Democrats and aligned him so closely with Donald Trump's Republican Party? Well, if we look at the timeline, his political alienation really kicked off around March 2020. California officials forced the shutdown of his Tesla factory during the COVID-19 lockdowns, which Musk fiercely viewed as this massive anti-democratic overreach. The friction got worse when a Democratic assemblywoman tweeted some pretty direct hostility at him. Then, just days later in May 2020, Musk tweeted, "Take the red pill," which really signaled a public shift toward right-wing ideology. This divide got even deeper in 2021 when the Biden administration held a major White House EV summit and completely excluded Tesla, the biggest EV maker in the world. Fast forward to 2024, and he is now directly and heavily involved in Trump's political initiatives. But it's not just about business regulations or factory closures. The shift is deeply, deeply personal for him. Musk harbors a really profound personal grievance. He stated publicly that his child, who transitioned genders, was essentially, in his words, killed by the woke mind virus. Musk fundamentally views this cultural shift as a dangerous, anti-meritocratic force that suppresses free speech and literally poses a threat to Western civilization itself. And that specific ideological stance is exactly what fueled his move to acquire Twitter for $44 billion back in 2022. It wasn't just a business investment. It was tied directly to his desire to fundamentally reshape public discourse. The digital town square we all use. He wanted to combat what he viewed as the active suppression of right-leaning viewpoints, and he wanted a massive platform to fight back against the extreme regulatory oversight that he felt was constantly bogging down his companies. Which brings us to his current political integration. With Trump in office, Musk has effectively been handed a mandate through the DOGE initiative, the Department of Government Efficiency. His stated goal? To cut a whopping $2 trillion from the U.S. federal budget by taking 428 federal agencies and slashing them down to just 99. He has successfully combined his immense personal wealth with massive, direct political power to gut the very regulations he despises. Let's move to Section 5 and see how this all builds into our final topic, engineering the future. Because ultimately, all of this, the wealth, the incredible scale, the new political power, it's all serving his grandest, most existential visions. Take artificial intelligence, for instance. A lot of people forget Musk originally donated $100 million to help start OpenAI as a nonprofit open source lab. He did it to counter Google's monopoly, especially after having a massive falling out with Google's Larry Page over AI safety. But when Sam Altman eventually shifted OpenAI over to a closed-source for-profit model, Musk actually sued them. In response, he founded his own company, xAI, and launched Grok, an open-source chatbot specifically to ensure AI doesn't become totally monopolized by corporate interests. Because his concerns about AI run deep, really deep. After hearing stark warnings from DeepMind's Demis Hassabis that AI could eventually overpower humanity, Musk again looked to science fiction for an answer. Specifically, he looked at the concept of a neural lace from the culture novels. His real-world solution? Neuralink. It's a coin-sized brain implant. And yes, it's designed to cure terrible things like paralysis and blindness, but the ultimate long-term goal is actually to merge human will directly with AI. He firmly believes that by wiring our brains right into computers, we can prevent artificial intelligence from dominating us. Pretty wild, right? And honestly, the whole shebang culminates right here, in these incredibly massive terrestrial and extraterrestrial visions. He's developing the driverless cybercab to totally disrupt Uber. He's launching thousands of Starlink satellites to capture a massive slice of the $1 trillion global internet service provider market. And why is he doing all that? Mostly to fund his ultimate final goal, Starship. It's the largest rocket ever built by humans, designed with one single overarching purpose: to make humanity a multi-planetary species by colonizing Mars with 1 million people by the year 2050. So that leaves us with this one massive, profound question to chew on. We are witnessing an entirely unprecedented combination of immense wealth, cutting-edge technology, and now unbelievable political power, all concentrated in one single individual. Whether you absolutely love him or completely hate him, Elon Musk is not just sitting around waiting for the future, he is actively engineering it. But will his methods ultimately save humanity or endanger it? That is a question we are all going to have to watch unfold in real time. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you, and I'll catch you next time.